Let's talk about water disinfection in pools and drinking water. For pools, Ontario Regulation 565 has requirements for pool disinfection and water quality parameters. For example, alkalinity has to be between 80 and 120 ppm, pH 7.2 and 7.8. Free available chlorine in pools, so the indoor pools, should be 0.5 to 10 ppm. So for outdoor pools that use cyanuric acid, pools must have a FAC between 1 and 10 ppm. Bromine pools need residuals between 2 and 4 ppm. Spas must have chlorine at 5 to 10 ppm. Bromine spas, again, 5 to 10 ppm. ORP, or oxidation reduction potential, should be between 600 and 900 millivolts, and the maximum concentration of cyanuric acid is 60 ppm. Let's talk about chlorine. It's the most common disinfectant used for pools and spas. It can be chlorine gas, sodium hypochlorite, which is liquid bleach, or in a solid form. When you add chlorine to water, it breaks down into two main components: hypochlorous acid, which kills bacteria quickly by breaking down cell walls. Fun fact, this is how our immune system destroys pathogens too. Hypochlorous acids depend on pH. Higher pH lowers the amount of HOCl, which is hypochlorous acid. The hypochlorite ion is also produced, but this takes longer to kill bacteria. When chlorine does its job disinfecting, chloramines are also produced. Chloramines is an umbrella term for byproducts that are gassed off from chlorine disinfection. When disinfection happens, the two components break down cells and cell walls by oxidizing them. When this happens, the remaining chlorine binds with organic matter in the water, such as sweat and oils, and bacterial activity, which produce ammonia. Sweat and urine also contain nitrogen and ammonia. When chlorine binds to ammonia, chloramines are formed. Once a chloramine does not disinfect and is broken down into single atoms. So chloramines also produce an odor, which is an indicator that the pool chlorine levels are low and can cause skin and eye irritations. Production of chloramines can also lead to the production of chlorine gas, which is hazardous to human health. Trihalomethanes, or THMs, are basically a group of chloramines that are harmful byproducts of chlorine disinfection and can be in drinking water and pool water. It can contribute to indoor air quality problems, and there are four common THMs in pools, but the most notable one is trichloromethane, which is chloroform. The maximum acceptable concentration, or MAC, of THMs, or trihalomethanes, in drinking water is 0.1 ppm. It's more harmful in drinking waters than it is in pools. So free available chlorine, or FAC, is the amount of HOCl, or hypochlorite ion, and hypochlorite ions available to disinfect pool water and drinking water. So again, when we put chlorine into water, it breaks down to two things that can kill bacteria. FAC is the available amount of these two things. For indoor pools, its FAC should be 0.5 to 10 ppm. Stabilized pools, 1 to 10 ppm. And for small drinking water systems, it should be 0.05 ppm, free available chlorine. Combined chlorine, or CC. When chloramines are formed, chlorine and ammonia are attached to each other, and the chlorine cannot disinfect. Basically, it's the portion of chlorine that has already reacted and cannot disinfect. If combined chlorine is at 0.2 ppm, the pool needs to be shocked. Total chlorine, it's basically the amount of free available chlorine and combined chlorine in the pool. pH. pH indicates how acidic or alkaline water is, and it's a range between 1 and 8, or not 8, it's 10 or 12. Anyways, if the water is above 7.8 pH, it can lead to skin rashes because of lack of disinfection. And below 7.2, the water can be corrosive and sting the eyes and cause irritation. Between 7.2 and 7.8, pool water pH is optimal for disinfection. High pH can deplete hypochlorous acid and chlorine and lower its effectiveness. Alkalinity. It's the sum of all alkaline chemicals in the water. If it's too low, then the pH balance can be unstable and fluctuate, affecting disinfection. Cyanuric acid is used to extend the life of chlorine in pools in an outdoor setting. Chlorine is degraded quickly on sunlight and UV. Adding cyanuric acid can extend life of chlorine. However, using too much cyanuric acid can negatively affect chlorine disinfection, can cause cyanuric lock. Basically, there's too much chlorine bound to cyanuric acid and not enough for disinfection. Cyanuric acid cannot be used for indoor pools. It's only for outdoor pools. Now, chlorine shock, which is hyperchlorination. It is a sudden influx of chlorine into pool waters or small drinking water systems. Some reasons to shock water in pools or small drinking water systems are: the pool water is cloudy, which means not enough disinfection and we can't see the black discs. The combined chlorine, which is an indicator, is above 0.2 ppm. It's an indicator that free available chlorine is too low. If the free available chlorine concentration is non-compliant, we should shock the pool. If pool water smells, it means that there's a high amount of chloramines in the pool, meaning there's not enough free available chlorine to disinfect the pool. If the pool has been fouled, meaning poo has been introduced into the pool should be shocked. For wells and small drinking water systems, if the distribution has a adverse water quality incident, the well or the distribution system needs to be disinfected through chlorine shock. Fouling incident. When someone passes feces in a pool, the feces can potentially contain Giardia lamblia or Cryptosporidium parvum, which are parasites that can cause illness through the spread of feces. Oocytes and cysts, which are a form of one of their life cycle forms, are very resistant to chlorination. For pools must be closed to allow for adequate filtration to remove these parasites. For small drinking water systems that draw from surface water, which are the more likely source for parasites in small drinking water systems, these small drinking water systems need proper filtration and disinfection to remove parasites. For wells, wells are unlikely to be contaminated by parasites. So let's talk about fouling incidents for pools. So, solid feces. First, you must close the pool, tell bathers to leave the pool, and then close the pool and prevent other people from accessing it until disinfection and filtration is complete. So the first step, once the pool's closed, is to remove the feces. Remove as much as possible using a net or a bucket, ensuring PPE is worn, done in a clean manner, and making sure that the feces is thrown out in a clean way into a toilet, and then cleaning and disinfecting the items used for removal. It's not recommended to vacuum feces out of a pool. Shock chlorination is when we raise the free available chlorine to 2 ppm at a pH of 7.5 for at least 25 to 30 minutes. Now, we do this shock chlorination when there's solid feces. This will kill all pathogens, including Giardia, that are in the feces. After this, we should confirm that the filtration is working. While we're checking the filter, it'll allow the pH and the free available chlorine to distribute in the pool and stabilize. Doing this ensures that the water is being filtered and distribution is adequate. So one check we can do is that ensuring the pump is properly working. After 20 to 30 minutes, we can reopen the pool once the free available chlorine and time are met, and we must ensure that the pH and free available chlorine are compliant as well. Next, diarrhea, which is a high-risk event because cryptosporidium may be present in the pool and may be present in diarrhea. It's important to close the pool, telling the bathers to leave, and leaving it closed and inaccessible until proper disinfection and filtration is complete. When removing feces, we should use a net or a bucket, making sure PP is warm and the poo is disposed in a clean manner in a toilet. Cleaning and disinfection of the removal items should be done, and it's not recommended to vacuum. Now, when we shock chlorinate a pool from a diarrhea incident, it's important to note that crypto is very resistant to chlorination. For indoor pools, we should raise free available chlorine to 20 ppm for 12.75 hours, or to 10 ppm for 25 hours, so like 1 day. For outdoor pools, cyanuric acid should be between 1 to 15 ppm. Again, if it's too high, too much chlorine will be bound to the cyanuric acid, not allowing for proper disinfection. So for outdoor pools, free available chlorine at 20 ppm should allow a contact time of 28 hours, 30 ppm at 18 hours, or 40 ppm at 8.5 hours. And it's important to ensure that the pump is working and filtration is working. Once the time parameter has been met, so again, like 28 hours, 18 hours, 8 hours, the filter should be backwashed. And it's important when we backwash the filter that it's appropriately discharged. If we need to replace the cartridge filter, it should be done. Once backwashing is done, it's important that free available chlorine and pH are back to acceptable levels before opening. Lastly, bromine, which is another pool sanitizer, is only used indoors. It's similar to chlorine and it can sanitize pool water, and it should be between 2 to 4 ppm. It's common in spas because it's independent from pH and it's resistant to high temperatures. Some pros of bromine are that it's more stable at high temperatures, it gets stronger at higher pH, and can be reactivated under shock treatment. It's also stronger and requires less. Some cons are that it's more expensive and cannot be used outdoors.